So first thing you are going to do is to just create a simple cylinder. So you can do it as you want. You can create directly a basic volume. So cylinder, I start from the center as usual. I'm going to make it pretty big, like this, and like this. Okay, so this one, I'm going to change layer to have different colors. And I'm going just to explode it to transform it from an extrusion to a poly surface and join it again. It's not a nice color, this one. Okay. Okay, so to do the first shape, I'm just going to first project a line from the center, totally vertical, and project this onto my cylinder by using the project curves tool. So like this, now you see that my vertical line was projected all around my cylinder, so also on the top and behind. So we just need the line that is on the front. So we are going to explode these rectangle and select the first edge that we want to keep by pressing Control or Command and click. Okay, and like this, I have just the three behind selected, and I can delete them with the delete key. So I have this one, and I'm going to do so. I don't forget to click on Project to draw a rectangle, which is going to be the cut I'm going to make inside the cylinder. So something like this. Okay, so I'm just switching in wireframe render to be able to place it in the middle of the vertical line. Okay, and same thing, I'm going to project this rectangle on the cylinder. So I use again project curves, and like this I have two rectangles, one in the front, one behind. We don't need the one behind, so I unselect the one in the front and delete the one behind. Okay, so new things we are going to do is so we can do the cut right now. So I'm going to cut my cylinder with the rectangle I projected on it. So if the curve is already on the surface, you can cut something into a perspective view. But if it's not on the surface, but if I wanted to cut it with the rectangle which was in the middle, don't forget that you have to be in a plan view to be able, for Rhino, to be able to understand in which direction it has to cut your surface. Okay, but here, I know that this rectangle is projected on the cylinder, so I can cut it even in a perspective view because he knows where is the rectangle. So I use the split tool, I select the cylinder, I validate, and the rectangle, I validate. So we have this little surface that we don't need anymore. So I delete just the surface. I remind you that you can undo a cut if you made a mistake by using the untrim tool. So on the trim tool, you see that with the left click, this is trim. With the right click, this is untrim. So I do a right click, I select the cutted edge, and you go back to your original surface. Okay, so I undo that, Control Z or Command Z. And now I want just the beginning of this line and the end of this line, and that it stops at the beginning of my cut. Like this, I'm going to sketch a new shape, a new line in a curve, but it has to be tangent at the beginning and tangent at the end for the new surface to be totally blended in the existing surface. So I'm going to cut my vertical line that I projected on the cylinder with the rectangle I projected also on the cylinder. So my line is selected. I use split tool. What is the cutting object? It's my rectangle, and I validate. And like this, now you see that my line is cut. I can delete this one. Next step is to sketch my new line between these two pieces. So why I keep these two pieces? For two things. Like this, I know where my curve has to start. And since I know it's totally vertical, I'm going to be able to make a tangent curve. So it will start in tangency with this little piece of curve, and it will end also in tangency with this little piece of curve. Like this, we are sure that our new surface will be totally blended. So I'm just going to keep these two little pieces in view. So I go in visibility and isolate object. Like that, I have just my two little piece. Set view in profile view or front view. Profile view. And I'm going to sketch a new line. So I'm just going to use the control point curve. So of course you use the tool you want, but you have to make something tangent at the start and at the end. Don't forget that if you want to have something totally blended. How to make with the control point curve something which is tangent? You have to have, so for example, I start in the middle. You see that if I click one point and I click already one other point on the top, the start here, maybe I have to change the color because you don't see well. The start of my line, you see that compared to a virtual horizontal line, if I sketch a horizontal line, there is no tangency. How to have a tangency with a curve like this? So I start again the control point curve. I start right here. You have to have at least 2 points horizontal. And like this, when you continue your curve, that you end it here, knowing that these 2 points are in the continuity of your existing line, will assure you that you will have a tangency at the beginning of your curve. Okay, so always at least 2 points for your curve. So it's what we are going to do with our two little piece right here. So I start my curve. So I start at right here. So at least 1 point vertically to be sure that my curve will be tangent to the existing line, at least 1 point, and then you can sketch whatever you want. So I do something like this, and I go back to something So 2 points, so at least 1 point in the continuity of my end of curve, and the last point here. And here I know that I tangent. So then you can move these points if you are not sure, but don't forget that if you move this one, you lose the tangency. You really have to have at least 2 points in the continuity of your existing line. Of course, you can still move it vertically. Okay, you won't lose the tangency as long as they are aligned with the existing line. So something like this. So just going to move them a bit more like this. Okay. So I remind you that if the control points are not activated when you select the curve, you have to activate them by clicking on the tool Show Object Control Point. And if you want to unactivate them, you right-click on the same tool. So visibility, I show everything, and we have everything we need. So we are just going to need the cylinder and the curve. So I just isolate this object to keep just this. And we are going to use the edges as curves to create our surface. And for this, we are going to use the sweep to raise. So I go in the surface sidebar and use the sweep to raise. So I remind you also that you can choose the kind of junction between the existing surface and the one you are creating just with the rail position. So you will be able to set that you want tangency in the rail position. It's not, you still will have some tangency on the section because it's an edge from the cylinder. So normally there is no I'm searching my words. If you choose the rail with the little section or the rail with the long section, I think in this case there won't be any difference. We can try both to see if there is a difference. So auto chain, yes. So first rail, it's the little edge. Second rail, I forgot to validate. Validate second rail, this little one. I validate, and then the section. So edge of the cut, my new curve, edge of the cut. You validate, you have a preview of it. And that's pretty nice. I don't know why we can't choose this. Well, I click on OK to validate. And if I go into the render preview, I have to add some kind of plastic material with some reflectivity at 100%. Okay. Like this, I have some reflection, and you see that we have, and also for this one, change object layer, and you see that we have a totally blended surface, no edge at all. Okay, one little trick before I let you do this one. So I go back in the shaded view, I undo this. Remember that you have a little history record in Rhino. So if you are not sure of this curve, instead of changing the curve and redo again the shape of the surface, the sweep to raise, you can record the history. Okay, so the tool is at the very bottom of your screen, record history, just near the magnet tool. You click on Record History. Now it's in bold font. So it's recording the history. You go to pick your sweep to rails, chain edges, okay. First rail, you validate. Second rail, you validate. Section first edge, curve, second edge. You validate, and you click on OK. Now you see that the record history is unactivated, but I still have my curve here. So I go in the side view, and if I move some point of my curve, you see that the surface is moving too, because Rhino recorded the last function. So like this, you can still make some changes in your curve without doing again your sweep to rails. But as soon as you are going to create a new function, a new command with this surface, for example, now I want to join these two surfaces. You see that it's not in the same layer, so I join them. I have the little warning saying that the join command will break the history of the two objects. Are you sure you want to do that? Okay, so I said yes. So now if I change the curve, it won't change anymore my surface. Okay, I let you do that. And I'm going to sketch my line. So I go in side view. I'm still going to use the control point curve. I prefer to go in wireframe. Okay, and like this. Okay, so I sketch a line. So here I want really the start to be totally a straight line. So I'm going to create 3 vertical points. Then like this. 1, 2, 3, and another 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have this kind of line. So you are not obliged to do exactly the same shape. Okay, you do the shape you want. It's nice to start from a totally vertical line like this. When you do the offset will start also at the very top of the cylinder. Otherwise, if the start is not totally vertical, you will see that the offset is going a bit out of the cylinder, which is not bad, but for the example, I prefer it to be totally vertical. So I go in the curve tool, choose the offset curve, and create my offset. So maybe it's not enough big. I'm going to click on through points because here it's waiting a distance, but you can click on through points, and like this, it's where you click that it will do the offset. So something like this. Okay, something like this. So now I have my 2 lines. So I'm going to cut my cylinder. So first I explode it to cut just the side of the cylinder. I choose split, my 2 curves, I validate, and now, so my cylinder, you see it's cut both sides because I was in plan view, so it cut through the surface. So I have these 2 cuts that I can delete. Okay, and now I'm going to change the shape of a part of the cylinder. So maybe I can use this one. So I'm going to to join these two pieces together, otherwise the cage will make a difference between the edges. And I'm going to create a cage. So cage edit to create a cage automatically around the shape you selected. So cage edit. Then you just have to click on the first options. So bounding box, C-plane, and the important part is the number of points. So here I'm going to create a cage 4x4x6. Validate. I have to activate the points to see something. Okay. So of course the 6 points are not in the good direction. I want the 6 points in the vertical direction. So I'm going to undo this. Oops. Bounding box, C-plane, Z point. Yesterday I made 6 points in the Z, it was working. I'm going to make 6 in the Y. Okay, so now I have the 6 points vertically, so I put the 6 points in the Y axis. And here I want to change the shape, but just in the middle. That's why I put 6 points vertically. Like that, I will keep the two first row. I won't change it. The two last, I won't change it. Like this, I will keep exactly the same shape at the beginning and at the end of my cylinder. And I'm just going to change the shape with the two rows in the middle. So I select the wireframe view like this, I see better, and side view, and I'm going to change the shape of these points. So you see I select in the two row in the middle and the two column of the right. Okay, these 4 points. So I select them, then I go into top view and I'm going to use my scale tool, scale 1D, from the center of my cylinder. So I wrote W0, I validate. Endpoint, we don't really care here because we are not doing with exact measurement. So I click just a bit outside of the cylinder and I go vertically or horizontally on the side. So something like this, it's enough. Okay. So I think I forgot a piece. So be careful that everything is well joined. You see here that I had a piece after my cut. I had a piece that was unattached to the rest of the surface. So I joined them. Here I have 2 little pieces that I don't need, so I can delete it. Je sais plus ce que j'ai fait du coup. Okay, I have the 6 vertically. So set view, side view, I select the 4 points here on the side. I go in the top view and I do one direction scale from W0 and I stretch it a bit on the sides. Okay, so I go back in the shaded view. The cage, I don't really need it anymore. And now I can make the blend surface between the two halves of my cylinder. So I go in Surface Tools, Blend Surface. Before clicking anywhere, don't forget to click on Chain Edges, Auto Chain yes, Continuity on Tangency. First edge, you validate. Second edge, you validate. And here is your blended surface. So here you see that I'm in curvature. Maybe it's not useful here, so just tangency will be enough. If you want straight, if you want sharp edges, you can choose some position. Like this, you will have really sharp edges, but at the top you will lose the curve of the cylinder. So here, tangency. Okay, what I can do is to add some shapes. For example, here, try to always look at the perpendicular magnet. You click on it, so I'm going to add a few more like this to have a cleaner surface. Perpendicular, perp, and perp. When you are finished to add your shapes, you validate, and now you can manually change the degree of tangency on each handles. So here you can not move it like this. It has a curve which is really similar to the side of the circle. But the other one, you can move them if you want a more sharp edge in your blending surface. So you can move them. When you do that, maybe disable all the magnet points, because otherwise it will magnet everywhere and it's perturbating what you are doing. Okay, so you can just change the little handle, and you just have to validate at the end. And if I go in render view, I have something like this, which is totally blended. And if you worked well in symmetry with the cage and with your cuts, if you go in top view and create mirror with the mirror tool from the center of your scene, you don't have to make a second one, because the first one will fit perfectly on the other side. So then you can join everything. Okay. The only thing is here, I think it's not, this edge won't fit perfectly onto your cylinder. So in general, what I do is I do the blend surface, and then I just cut like this. So I go in this view, I create a sideline, you cut all the part that you don't need, and you redo the cap. Like this, you know that it's perfectly fitting and blended. And you go into the tools you know, solid tools, cap planar holes, and there is a new cap on the top. You do the same at the bottom, because otherwise I think the edge of your blending surface and the cap of the cylinder won't join perfectly. Okay, your turn. So set view, back view. Okay, so here it's the same start. We are going to sketch one curve through our cylinder, and we are going to create an offset of it. So same tool, control point curve. So I'm just going into wireframe to see better through my cylinder. So I unchecked visible because I checked it a bit earlier. So 1, 2, 3 points. Okay, and then I'm just going to create this line. This 1, 2. And 3. Okay, so I have my line. I'm going to create the offset curve. Okay, something like this. Wait, I'm thinking about something. Did I create 2 offset or just 1? To create it. No, I think it was just like this. Yeah, just 1. Okay, so I have my 2 offset, and I'm going to do the same thing as earlier. I'm going to so this time I'm going to project them on my surface because I just want to cut one side. If I cut in plan view, I will cut behind and in the front view too. So here I'm going to project the 2 curves on my surface. So of course I have 2 projection. So I'm going to unselect the one I don't want. But they are
excuse me, is it just me, but I can see your screen moving?
You can?
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
it's you.
Maybe
It's freezing, I think.
maybe it's the connection here.
Okay.
Wait a bit. Tell me if it's better in few seconds,
Yeah,
few
okay,
minutes.
okay. Mm.
Uh, okay. So for now, I did exactly the same thing as in the previous exercise. I created one curve from the top of the cylinder to the bottom, and I created an offset. I cut my cylinder with these 2 curves. So I select my cylinder, I use the split tool, I select my 2 curves, and it's not working. Wait, it's not working. Ah, yeah, maybe it's because I have to explode first. So think about exploding your cylinder, otherwise it won't work. So you select just the surface you want to split. You use the split tool and your 2 curves. And this time it's working. And I'm going to delete the part in the middle. So to do our surface, we are going to need, we will use the sweep to rails like in the first exercise. So what we are going to miss is the little piece right here because it's the edge of all the disk, but we just want the little piece that we will need to make the rail, because in the first exercise we cut with a rectangle, so we already have the edge, but here we don't have just this little piece of edge. So we are going to need this little piece of edge, and we are going to create the edge here with the sharp angle. So to do that, we are going to duplicate an edge. Duplicate edge is when you transform an edge from a surface into a curve. So we go in curve from object tab for the one who has the tab, and we use the tool which is called duplicate edge. Duplicate edge, you select the edge you want to duplicate. Okay, so I use my circle. What is this edge? Why I have 2 edges? Well, I'm going to try with this one. Okay, so now I have my curve here, And if I just show my curves, so I just created this this edge, and I want just the piece in the middle, so I'm going to cut all my circle with the two curves I projected on my cylinder. So I use for that the split tool, I select the circle and the cutting object, and I have just this little piece. All the rest of the circle I can delete it. So I have this, and now I just miss the piece at the top. But we can't sketch it like this. Otherwise, if we don't sketch some lines which are tangent to our top circle, we won't have a nice blended surface. So what we need is the beginning and the end of each edge. So for that, we are going to do the same thing as at the bottom, but we are going to do the contrary. Instead of keeping just the little part in the middle, we are going to delete this little part in the middle and keep the sides. And like this, we will be able to create a tangent line from an extremity to the other. So same tool, curve from object, I use the tool duplicate edge, I select my circle, I validate, and then I'm going just to isolate this object like that I see better. So isolate object, okay, and with these two curves I'm going to delete this time the part in the middle. I select the two pieces of circle, I isolate them like this, I see just that, and I go into the top view. And here, to make it simple, I'm going to show you a new tool, which is in the curve tools. And this tool is extend curve. So be careful, you have a lot of different curve extend. Extend by arc keep circle, extend curve smooth, extend by line. So you see that each of these tools will create a curve, will extend the curve. So this means that you will keep the tangency in each of these cases, but it will create different kind of curve. For example, if I select extend by line, and I choose the extremity of the curve, you see that it's just creating a straight line, but it's tangent to the point I started with. There is extend by arc keeping radius. So here, same thing, no choice. It's extending the line, but it's keeping the radius of the line. So here I'm just going to continue the circle. So it's not exactly what we want either. The one we are going to use is extend by arc to point. Okay, I don't know if you see well, extend by arc to point. So this means that I start, you see that I have the tangency from the extremity of my line, but I can go, the next point is exactly where I want. So what I'm going to do is to create a point around here, and I will do the same through the other point, and I'm going to join them. So for example, right here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try just to create a little conic from here. Okay, I'm going to do it with a conic, 0.5. Okay, so I did it with a conic tangent. So remember the tool, conic. I created tangent at start and I joined the points I created. I don't know why the... Je suis en projeté. I don't know what is happening right now. Transform. So if I give you a little tip. If you have something like that, a curve which is no more on a plan, and you want to project it on one plan, you have a tool which is called Set XYZ Coordinates. Okay, it's in the Transform tab, Set XYZ Coordinates. You select your curve, you click on this, you select in which direction you want to project. So here I want to project everything on the z-axis. So I select just z-axis. I click on OK, and you see that everything is set to the same plan. Okay, so I just lock onto where I was, and now I put everything in same place. Okay, so it's a nice tool. If you have a line in 3D that you want to put onto a plan, you choose Set XYZ Coordinates. Maybe it's because I have a problem. No, I don't know. So here I have my two little piece of curve. So I just exploded this one. I just need these two little pieces. I join them. This and this, I don't need it anymore. And I show everything again. So now I have everything I want. I have my two little pieces and my surface. So I just keep this. So what I need is my two surface, my little piece here, and the little piece here. And now just sweep to rails, chain edges, auto chain. Okay, so I'm going to use this as rails this time. First rail, okay. Second rail, okay. Section 1, section 2, you validate, and here it is, set on OK. So maybe you have to add some shapes like this to make it a bit better. Okay, and if I go into rendered mode, here is the blended surface.